You either quit your game or you work in your game long enough to see yourself hating it. Hi, I'm Leonardo Fraga, currently developing coudn't. Let's go. Number 1 is build your game around your core mechanics. And if you heard this before, bear with me for a moment. And if you haven't, you may be thinking what core mechanics are. Core mechanics are just what the player will be doing in your game over and over again all the time. So these are your core mechanics. Your core mechanics actually dictates the genre of your game. So an example is a first-person shooter. The first-person shooter is walking, shooting. In a racing game is controlling your car. In my game, coudn't is jumping, as it is in Mario. So the first thing here, number 1.1, the first point, number 1 is you need to have your core mechanics very clear to you. So don't be mistaken, there's some genres of game that the core mechanics are not as obvious as like a first-person shooter. So think about in your game, think about what the core mechanics are. Okay, you need to have this very clear in your mind. So the second point is the obvious part, but here you go, is make your core mechanic as perfect as you can. Make a great core mechanic. And one thing that I saw in a few places, and I think is just an awesome thing to do, is take your core mechanics, create an empty level in your game, like a blank room, an empty room with nothing, no challenge, nothing, just your core mechanics, and play for like 15 minutes and see if you're enjoying. Because you need to enjoy your core mechanics alone, just your core mechanics. This won't be easy for every genre, every kind of game, but try to do this, play around, see if it's enjoyable. It won't be like, oh my god, this is so much fun. No, it's an empty room, okay? But try to see if it's enjoyable just to control your character, just to play around with your core mechanics. This is a great thing to do because a lot of people try to improve their core mechanics, adding new features, but this is so wrong. And the main point of number 1 is to build your game around your core mechanics. I didn't say make a great core mechanics. I said build around your core mechanics. And what I mean by this, because this was not very clear to me, this helped me tremendously. So first you have your core mechanics very clear to you. So anything else that you're going to develop in your game, being like new features for your character, new abilities, your level design, everything else you're going to make in your game, you must first look at your core mechanics and see if these other features strengthen your core mechanics. Okay? Sometimes working along with your core mechanics is not enough. Sometimes you need to strengthen your core mechanics to make a great game. So this is an important thing because I see a lot of people saying focus on your core mechanics, focus on your core mechanics, but I never saw anyone saying for you to build your game around your core mechanics. So do this, keep your core mechanics in mind, and this is literal, okay? You need to have this mindset when you're developing. So I made some changes in my game when I learned this, and from now on I'm just thinking about my core mechanics and work around it, and I've changed some things and I think I improved my game because of this. So keep those things in mind and build your game around your core mechanics. Here we have 2 exceptions. The first exception of the rule is if you have a game that is really depends on the theme, the thematic. I don't know if it's a word. The theme of your game, like in a survival horror game. If you have a game like Silent Hill and you put the combat system of Devil May Cry in that game, you would totally destroy the environment of the game. Who is gonna be scared being Dante, So in this case, you first wanna look for your game's theme, and you wanna then look for your core mechanics, and then everything else. Okay, in this case, you need to make all things in your game follow your theme. Otherwise, your theme won't convey what you want. It won't be right. Okay? So in this case, you must do like this. And the second example The second exception is, and this is happens especially when I had my PlayStation 1, like I have a game that I was running and jumping like 95% of the time, and there was this one phase, just one, that I get to drive a car, to ride an airplane or something completely different from my car mechanic, and this was just awesome, just amazing. It's like that car phase that I always remember and I had so much fun playing. And this was just because it was outside my car mechanics. So it goes against this point here, and the reason that I'm talking about this point here is because we as indie developers, especially solo indie game developers, doesn't have much time and money to spend. So it's probably best for you to focus on your car mechanics alone. But if you think you can manage, if you have time and money for do this, and you want to do something like this, a tip that I give to you is make this a special thing. Okay, something that happens like 5% of the time, not something that you occasionally do. Make this something special and go for it. I know you're gonna make a great job, and I want to play your game and see what you did, because this is just so good memories, such a happy moments when I was playing a game when I was a kid, and there was those completely different things that I don't see this anymore. People are taking way too serious, focus on your car mechanics. So these are 2 points. And now number 2. Number 2, as I said, it's not original, is make your game juicy. But then again, wait here. I see this in a lot of places to make your game juicy. What is to make a game juicy? It's for your game to have a great game feel. Therefore, what is game feel? Game feel is basically the feedback that the player gets when anything happens in your game. When they press the button, when they get attacked, when anything happens, we look to the camera, we hear what's happening, we see what's happening, and we get this feedback. And this makes us feel in any way. So this is the game feel. And make a game juicy is to make a game with a great game feel. Okay, so this is a very recurrent subject. There's a lot of people talking about this. So instead of only being talking about making your game juicy, I will give you a few tips about how to actually make your game juicy. So number 2.1 is Screenshake, the almighty Screenshake. Almost everyone knows Screenshake, but in case you didn't hear, that's why I'm talking here. Screenshake is so good to convey a powerful thing happen. Okay, this is great. Like when you have a special attack or something happen, or a big monster is running, like everything that you want to be impactful, powerful, add some Screenshake. This goes a long way in making the player have that great feel of doing so. This is an awesome thing. There's a lot of videos that talking about Screenshake. If I'm not mistaken, there's a video about Vlambeers, that is the Art of Screenshake, and I'm mistaken, I will put the link here. Number 2 is make your animation as fluid or exaggerated as you can. If you have a game that you want to be realistic, grounded, make your animations really fluid. This may seem obvious, but I see so much indie games with weird animations, like a little stick. The problem is the graphics and the animation of a game. The graphics and the animation of the game makes you feel like it's a good game or it's a bad game. Animations doesn't make a game good or bad, but if you see a game that has a weird animation, you already think that it's a bad game. And if you have a game that is not necessarily realistic, make an exaggerated animation, especially if you're developing for mobiles. It's a tiny screen, not so tiny these days, but still, you need to exaggerate this. Walt Disney used to do this a lot, just what old cartoons as very exaggerated animations, instead of running like this, simply make them, like jog like crazy, some stuff like this. It feels good when you're playing with something with a character that walks and jumps like this. Make it feels nice to be that character. And if you do it right, don't overdo. You have to have a balance. This will add a lot of game feel to your game. The third tip here is sound effects. And again, not an original thing to say, but sound effects are so important. The soundtrack really conveys a lot of feeling. Soundtrack is the most powerful thing that you can use to convey feelings to the player. So spend a lot of time in the soundtrack. Like Thomas Brush said in one of his videos, I will also put the link here. Make your sounds, especially the sound effects, not your music, have enough bass and treble. You know, bass and with treble, more. Okay, you probably know what it is. But beside this, I cannot tell you how to make sound effects great for a game, but I urge you to spend some quality time looking for sound effects. Or if you have a nice mic and you want to make yourself, you know how to mess around with audio, make yourself, because searching is pretty hard. You know, you want a sound that is like, what do you search for? Sound effects, you know, it's really hard. But spend some time on it, please. This is such an important thing to convey game feel in your game. And pay attention to your camera. Your camera is really important. We as developer, almost all the time, we just spend some time working on our camera, and when it's working, we just forget about it. We don't test it anymore. It's working. I'm talking about I'm seeing mechanics and other stuff, but take a close look in your camera. Dedicate some quality time to it, because camera also can get in the way. Camera is like it's like drawings. Like, or you think it's bad, or you don't mind it, or it's great. Try to make it great. And the last one is 2.5. Is focus on your arts. Make a beautiful art. Try to make a distinctive art style. Okay, there's a lot of things. If you say, "Oh, I'm not an artist," but there's a lot of things for you to do that it doesn't require you to be an artist. You know, and I'm not talking about only geometric forms like square and circles. No, you can go for this either, but try to go for something unique, or at least something beautiful. Okay, and beautiful can be very simplistic with solid colors, but go for something beautiful. This is like animation. When we see a game that have a ugly art style or ugly animations, we just immediately feels, and I think it's unconscious, we don't think, "Oh, this is ugly, it's a bad game." No, but we feels like it's a bad game. And today there's just so much games being released, and we need to stand out, and for that we need a good art. So those things are not actually new things, as I wanted to give you guys, but this is my first video helping you, so I wanted to start with the main points here, and this is really important. So let's go for number 3. Number 3 is building your games like a roller coaster, and you must overcome the low points. And it is like a roller coaster, because when we start developing games, we start way up high with a lot of new ideas. It's all filled up with excitement. I just love it. I love to create. I read in one place that creative people that doesn't create die. Simple as this, die. And it's just awesome to start a new game. We start way up high, and then we start developing, we start getting some work done, we start making a prototype. You should make a prototype. Test your car mechanics, make a prototype. And we start working on a prototype, and we're still very high because we are getting work done, and we finish our prototype, and finally we have something that resembles a game. And it's great, we can test it, we can show to our friends and family. It's just great. We are very excited. But there's a lot of parts that we will not be creating. There will be a lot of time polishing, fixing bugs, and this can get boring. Even in our dream job, there will still be things that we don't like to do. So let's say we start working on our car mechanics, start polishing. So we have a really complicated car mechanics, so we spend like a month working on our car mechanics. We won't be as animated as, I forget the word, we won't be as happy as we were at the start, because we start to work on the same thing over and over again for a long time, and we start to go down, things start to get boring, and when we reach a low point, we try to go back to a higher point. And this is, we don't think about it, and this is the problem. We don't think about it because we as developers usually do two things. One is start creating new features, and this is where feature creep can enter the room. This is terrible. Don't do this, okay? Especially not thinking about it, because once we start to reach that low point, I've done this myself and it was not a good idea. I was like, okay, I will go back to this later. Later I work on my car mechanics, later I polish. But now I'm gonna create a new feature. It's awesome. My car will teleport, and you know, we immediately go high up again because we are creating again. We get something new. And this is awesome, but not so good idea. And the second thing that is worst is we just quit our game altogether and start a new project. Because when we start to get boring, we start to get low, we start to think about other things that make us happy, excited, and we always have that point when we are developing our current project. I'm in this point right now I'm in this point. We're developing our current project, and suddenly we have the greatest idea ever. This game is gonna change history. I must work on this game. And then we quit our current project, or we just work on it later, and we focus on the new project. So we immediately goes back up again. So we are very tempted to do those things. So those are the two things that many developers do. You either quit your game or you work in your game long enough to see yourself hating it. Like Harvard then said. He didn't. But the point is, finish your product. Okay, again, this is very obvious, a very recurrent project. So the thing that I want to say about this is keep this roller coaster in your mind and face the low points as challenges. Because this mindset completely changes the way you do things. So just having this mindset, it helped me tremendously. When I'm wanting to quit what I'm doing and start a new project, or I want to add new features and I know that I must focus on this, I think to myself, I am in a low point and I want to escape from this. Don't do this. Don't escape those low points. Work through it. Face it as a challenge and finish your projects. Because it's like an example. I don't know if this happens only to me, but let's say there's a purse. My wife has a purse that I hate to open that purse. It's weird to open. Every time I have to open that purse to get something, I feel like it's really hard. But if I say to someone, hey, I dare you to open this purse, you just open and say, what now? Why is that? What I'm trying to say here? Because if you're doing something automatically every day without thinking about it, not facing as a challenge, facing as something in our routine, we face it in a completely different way than we face it when we are facing a challenge. I was trying to open the purse as a routine in my life. I wasn't thinking about it. was when I challenge someone, they look to the person like, come on, bring it to me. It's different, okay? So for them, it's easy. And for me, it was hard. Because actually, it's not hard to open that person. And this serves for everything in your life. Think about this. Not only games, everything in your life. You are passing some difficult time. Think about, this is a challenge. This, as crazy as it sounds, it really helped me in my life because I was starting to look at things differently. And as I said before, I'm talking about in-game development, but you can use this in everything in your life. Look at your game, see when you're in low points, and work through it. Face it as a challenge and finish your projects. Okay, so this is a part that I don't hear anyone say, actually. So I wanted to tell you this because I genuinely want to help you guys, because I get so much help from a lot of videos. I didn't study, I just was reading and watching, did some courses online, and I feel really happy when I get to a point that I'm good at something, that I'm proud of myself. And I want to help you guys the same way I was and I am being helped by others. Thanks for watching. I'm Leonardo Fraga, currently developing coudn't, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.